Lens flare. Seriously though, introducing a brand new take on the Avengers in silhouette in 2002, before the net was all about spoilers, I'm taking a sin off. Sue me. Mark Millar. In case you confused it with the South Pacific in 1958. I'm actually going to take 3 sins off for the single fact that there is no narration in the next 20 pages. That's oddly refreshing. Camel cigarettes. That is not a good plan. Main character hidden in shadows cliché. And he's never lost a squad. And they're all invited to his wedding. Next you'll tell me this is their last mission before they all get to go home. That's sexist. Thanks to the invasion of Iceland in 1940, it doesn't matter if it's 6 in the morning or not. There are no Nazi bases in Iceland. But I hear you at home saying, but it's an alternate universe. To which I reply, 2-page spread. Remember kids, war is hell. Is now really the time to complain about Captain America? Betty Boop is not a good call sign. You should have gone with Papa Dragon. A hole in the variables? A minute ago the plan is to just zap Brannigan and send wave after wave of your soldiers at the thing hoping that someone will eventually break the line. And they have a missile aimed at the White House? I'm getting Matt Salinger flashbacks and that's not a good thing. Cap survives this. Is that an option? That's a good question, Bucky. I was going to sin Captain America's vagueness, but I can't stop staring at his face. Be sure to get my good side. Short answer, blowing up the White House would have very little bearing on Allied command, which was set up in London at the time. This is why the Nazis lost, people. No one checked their work. There's no way he's going to make it. And even if he does manage to grab the rocket, he's going to still land on the business end of a lit rocket. Captain America survives this. Cue Skyfall theme. Reading a letter narration. If you're reading this, something bad happened, cliché. In case you mistook it for Morocco, next week. Bruce Banner is a picky eater. No Hulk cells for 12 weeks? Isn't that like saying, hey, I haven't had a herpes breakout in a couple months, therefore I'm cured? Discount Mark Ruffalo. Nick Fury isn't David Hasselhoff in this scene. Your tax dollars hard at work. 200 linguist professors have to leave work every time Nick Fury decides to go to eat. So this is where all the money the Pentagon keeps losing goes. Well, that does sound like a W plan. Does this mean Mark Ruffalo is being replaced by Robert Wagner or Rob Lowe? In case you thought it was a Starbucks in Oregon. Ant Moving Co. Ant making coffee. You can't be a genius without needing to pop a few pills. Who needs super soldiers when you can create an army of titans? Mr. Clean of the Fortune 500. But is it today? Tomorrow? Are we still in 2002? There's no way you heard that conversation. Jarvis is the perfect English butler, complete with dry wit masking disdain. 1 sin off. Clearly that's a standard martini, which I would say is worse for him than a vodka and orange, since normal people call that a screwdriver. Dude, close your robe. He's also now holding a brandy glass. Also, Nick Fury says daddy-o like he's Mutt from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Thor has a cell phone. It suddenly hit me that Cameron Diaz used to be famous, which makes me feel old, and I am not okay with that. No, that's the Statue of Liberty. Also, in case you thought this was the Musée d'Orsay in Paris, France. Ha 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 ha. Seriously though, that's a major medical condition. That's some good coincidence there, boys. The 10th decimal point? I'm fairly certain in the 10th of a second if your brain grew faster than your skull, there'd be some damage. But it's Hank, so who'd notice? I'm no scientist, but I can't afford Neil deGrasse Tyson, so sin. Then explain eating disorders to me. I know, right? It's like you don't matter to this story at all. You're not going to believe this cliché. Lens flare. A backwoods serial killer? I'd say more like Zachary Quinto in American Horror Story. Wait, there's supposed to be something wrong with their marriage? Yeah, later we find out, but right now there has been nothing to suggest that they need a fresh start. I know, it's like the biggest plot convenience ever or something. Really going to stick with the drunken capitalist dick, huh? Okay. How qualified is Banner for defrosting that turkey? Dr. Bruce Banner, the Reanimator. But then how can we be cryptic? That's racist. You need to say this after he's taken out everyone else in the room, including Nick Fury? You deserve what happens to you. I'm starting to think Mark Millar doesn't know how decimal points work. Steve survives this. This pun. Foreshad irony. Seems like Bucky had a hell of a time, though. My best friend has cancer cliche. Lens flare. However, I'm not made of stone. The entire scene of Cap seeing Bucky, Gale, and visiting his father's grave deserves 5 sins off. Wow, way to kill the mood. With how much money they've been throwing around for the Ultimates, I doubt it. The first government-sponsored super team markets itself. You're just here to deal with merchandising. 2-page spread. Kinky Tony is kinky. I like Jennifer Tilly as much as the next man, but even in 2002 that's not exactly A-list. Not when you were having drinks with Cameron Diaz earlier. Or does this Tony have a thing for voice actresses? 2002? Well, there were definitely some bad, but it was a lot cooler than 2016. Oh, so that's where Shannon Elizabeth was in 2002. I agree with Larry King. That's a sin to everyone involved. $250 for a pair of pants? Yeah, no, that's still a sin in the 21st century, Cap. Way to kill her lady boner, Cap. Or did it? Even as banged up as this place is, I don't think you could get it for $600. Wah wah. It's like this team is poorly managed or something. Betty is a bitch to banners. In case you thought it was, actually it could have been anywhere on the planet. Nothing to see here. Move along. I won't be ignored, Dan. Oh, they made Thor a hippie? Nothing interesting happens for weeks after that. Brad Pitt as Captain America? Couldn't afford it. How about the guy from Not Another Teen Movie? When you're drawn to be Samuel, wouldn't it have been funny if they made you Don Cheadle instead? How about that guy from Less Than Zero? What about that guy from Basic Instinct? I know he's old, but hey, we'll make sure the guy from Wet Hot American Summer plays actual Ant-Man. Sorry. Actually, since the popular version of you is white, we'll get someone who doesn't have a career yet. Sorry. Also, that's racist. Steve Buscemi. Sorry, Bruce gets that guy from The Nugget, that guy from Death to Smoochie, or that guy from Apartment 12. Freddie Prinze Jr. isn't Tony Stark's girlfriend in this scene. It's like halfway through his sentence he realized how insane he sounded, so he had to remind her that he was a scientist. Phrasing. Master Tactician, ladies and gentlemen. Now that's just silly. Hornier than what? Yes, I know, sin for being rapey, but I really want to hear the end of that simile. People in Glass Comics, Hank. Battery Park to Harlem? That's 11 miles of New York City. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's fairly impossible. Now that just can't be sanitary. Tony Stark wears a G-string. No, sadly you're drawn to have the same boobs. That face. I should send Cap for being able to go one-on-one with an enraged and horny Hulk, but I'm removing one sin for clearly showing why he gets the upper hand, even for a second. Captain America survives this. Cap, your entrance was good, his was better. Voting for Ralph Nader. 50 Shades of Grey Hulk. He ragdolled. He's dead, regardless of his living throughout the rest of this. Hulk paraphrases my letters to Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm no scientist, but I don't think the ear canal works that way. Cap is a dick to naked banners. One sin off for having the Triskelion double as a disaster relief center. Why, no it isn't, Betty. And oddly, domestic sales of the movie will only be about 6 million DVDs. Not if his own DVD sales are anything to judge it by. Do you think that it was just like buying regular porn? Yes, I'll take the Captain America trading cards, the vintage Playboys, and the Fabergé egg. Make it 2. There's a comic book butlers club? I want to see that comic. Probably. I mean, men have been drawn to crazier. Plus, she's hot and Asian. I don't even think her eating bugs would register. Is there a universe where Hank is mentally stable? Hey, leave the PS2 alone, Thor. The real enemy is Microsoft's Xbox. I'll be waiting for my check, Sony. Those faces plus that line equals... Yeah, no powers. That just makes the abusive relationship unfair. With all the other product placement, do you think Raid said, no, we'll pass on this, while Off was just like, yeah, totally, wait, it's against a tiny Asian woman with wings? No, thank you. I know what my new nightmare is going to be. Trying to buy your way into heaven with good deeds. That's gotta be a sin, right? Room is an orgy of evidence that Hank just baked a cake.